Thank you so much. I appreciate being with you all this morning in this wonderful event. Lots of interesting ideas. I'm also pleased to note that one of our IIM Calcutta alumni, Shiv Kumar, who's also a great friend to IIM Calcutta, was the previous keynote speaker. I know that he has amazing insights to share with you. Before I proceed much further as to how exactly we at IIM Calcutta are working to position ourselves for the future, let me spend a minute on explaining how we see ourselves in this environment. So, IIM Calcutta, we perceive ourselves as a national asset with a really important responsibility to contribute to the progress of the state, of the nation, and of the world, and all of our activities with regard to learning of our students, the research capabilities of our faculty members, the doctoral education that we impart, the outreach activities that we engage in. We expect to orient them to this larger vision of being a national asset and contributing to the state, the nation, and the world. Clearly, the COVID pandemic has created numerous challenges for us, for the world, and we are trying to position ourselves to cope with the new normal. Let me spend a minute further to think about what are these changes and how do we expect to address them. So there are changes, serious, profound changes in demand. There are profound changes in impact on workforce, the nature of work in some sense. Entire industries are under threat. Think about the travel, the hospitality industries, what the implications for employments and implications for managers to reskill themselves. Customers are likely to be trading down with the products that they purchase, brands repositioning themselves to add additional value to customers, distribution channels shifting in very significant ways. Communities are functioning in with long distance while struggling with what's happening in their daily lives, and this is true of our students as well. So in terms of moving to a remote workforce to protect and empower their employees, as well as serve their customers and establish business communities, there are very profound shifts happening in the business world today. Besides the business world, we are also cognizant of the fact that the pandemic is likely to send millions of people back into extreme poverty and hunger worldwide, including in India. With this very frightening specter of worldwide impoverishment is something that we must keep in mind as we proceed as business schools to shape leadership in business in the future. So one aspect of what we do is think about how we bring speed, agility, adaptability into the classroom, encourage our students to focus on all these very important elements that are going to become even more important in the future. So these disruptions in customer preferences and supply chains and offline buying channels have made adaptability and agility even crucial, not just for survival. It's also very critical to access opportunities very quickly. One element of the future that this is going to entail is the need for new partnerships and collaborations and new approaches for how we continue to do business. How are we changing our curricula and our approaches to imparting education? Let me talk a little bit about our flagship programs and the kinds of approaches that we are building into our curricula. And first, I'll talk about our MBA programs, but I also want to talk a little bit about our PhD programs, because doctoral education is also a very, very important imperative for how we proceed forward. So our flagship programs highlight the business and managerial requirements for success in the new normal. Our students at IIM Calcutta have always been known for their technical skills and knowledge. as also for their entrepreneurial orientation. And we are proceeding to focus even more on these important capabilities um, of perseverance, of resilience. The need of the hour, as we see it, is to empower our learners to effectively perform in the context of work that is not yet invented. How the world will change that the world will change is known. How the world will change is not known. And so we want to be able to empower our learners to always seek new opportunities in a spirit of inquiry with strong problem solving capabilities and the ability to translate skill into action. How does this happen? Building autonomy for our learners, encouraging each one of our students to take the initiative and the responsibility for their learning with the capability to translate these skills into action and hit the ground running outside the classroom with a greater balance between learning by studying and along with learning by doing. So we're experimenting with the flipped classroom to a greater extent, where there is more lecture material that is online and more in-class focus on interaction and application. We are building partnerships with businesses, with entrepreneurs, IIM CIP, for our students to solve real world business problems. We're also encouraging our students to work with NGOs to help solve the problems of the socially disadvantaged who are entering into entrepreneurial opportunities. So, this whole notion of creating or helping fine tune the skill and capabilities of our students and learners to build innovative and entrepreneurial approaches to new job creation, as well as to the way they approach their positions as they work with corporations. Our managers and entrepreneurs have a deep appreciation of wider societal and global issues that we hope encourage the co creation of economic value and social value to seize opportunities that meet important needs with speed and agility. Clearly, leveraging technology it's a very critical aspect of how we attempt to accomplish these broader strategic objectives. These technological developments include digitization. Everyone has moved online, and I'm very pleased to say that IIM Calcutta did remarkably well with our shift to new technologies that employ digital learning. We have been very fortunate that we had a leadership position with blended learning that involved offering courses online along with the capability of learners to come to campus to meet co-participants in these blended learning programs. So we've been leveraged on this knowledge to be able to work with our MBA program students in the classroom to create this blended learning model, which we believe is extremely effective in this new environment. We intend to pursue this even further to build an asynchronous learning embrace to an even greater degree is that of customization and lifelong learning. We completely appreciate that the new normal is going to require very specialized needs. As I said previously, we don't know how the work will evolve. Our learners will have the capability for lifelong learning, and we at IIM Calcutta would like to facilitate this by virtue of creating micro credentials, stacked modules of certificate programs, and thus and so, which enable our learners to be able to create their own programs for lifelong learning in order to be able to continue to contribute to society and business as they proceed down their careers. We also place great credence in partnerships. We are known for our specializations in certain areas of business. So, for example, our analytical capabilities, the finance specialization areas, which we marry with critical thinking skills for our students. But in order to be able to take these to a wider reach of audience, we are partnering with technology partners. So recently we have been working with Coursera to launch certificate programs that we expect to enable worldwide learners to take advantage of. Which leads me to another very important aspect of how we think about education for the future. And the notion of globalization in education is increasingly becoming important. In one fashion, globalization has been interfered with by the COVID pandemic, in that students and learners cannot move easily between countries across continents in order to undertake education in campuses around the world. But in another sense, there is this wonderful capability for us to be able to leverage technology to reach learners worldwide. So this aspect of globalization, taking our programs, will leverage very significantly going forward. We don't think that the campus experience is going to go away. We believe that the campus experience will be back. We intend to continue to leverage this. And going back to globalization, I would like to now link this to the new education policy, which I happen to be a great fan of. The idea that India is not just self-sufficient in taking learning opportunities of all kinds to learners around in every corner of the nation, but also to become a learning hub for the world, is one that at IIM Calcutta we hope to be able to leverage in the future. We have recently worked very seriously at creating a plan for new infrastructure at IIM Calcutta. So we have new classroom buildings and new hostel buildings that we intend to create. The initial impetus for this was the EWS policy, of the very valuable EWS policy, I should say, of the government of India to take education to all classes, again, education and research. All great universities around the world marry the capability for learning of our students with the capability to develop new knowledge, which is the essential task of research. We fully anticipate that we will continue to leverage this capability on the part of both our faculty, but also with regard to doctoral education. The need of the hour is to be able to assist and build an even stronger cadre of faculty, or larger numbers of capable faculty, to be able to meet the needs of research and staffing educational institutions in India in the context of the NEP. So we not just think in terms of how deepening our skills in terms of how we teach, but in very practical matters, in a very practical manner. We also are attempting to globalize this. So, for example, last week we had this wonderful experience of conducting a research conference in partnership with NYU Stern School of Business, which has been a long-standing partner. We conducted this partner online. It went on for 3 days with different kinds of activities, including an address by a Nobel laureate, but also the capability for some of our distinguished alums who hold positions in universities worldwide to interact with scholars in India, to provide their experiences, to be able to mentor our students and our faculty. So I think that we strongly believe that connectivity is so crucial to be able to make progress in this new environment, using technology with partnerships, with goodwill, with a strong commitment to contribute to the nation and the state and to the world. So we think of the COVID crisis as creating remarkable opportunities that we hope to leverage in the future. Let me stop there. Thank you again for the opportunity to contribute to this amazing conference and conclave.